February 11, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. Here's what the chart looked like today. Carry over from yesterday. Kind of a small little spike, drop, 2 legs down, push up, small drop, kind of like 2 legs up, then this very big drop down. Bottom, it kind of recovers and moves up this very choppy, what I thought might have been a shallow channel up, then pretty much moves sideways into the close. There was only economic data that came out was at 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here, which was the hourly earnings and non-farm employment change and unemployment rate. It did cause this big spike up. And then overall, there were a few setups and a lot of almost setups, or what I consider setups that just wasn't quite there for me to want to take. I did take 2 trades. The first one kind of seems like the theme of the week is my first trade loses, and then the second trade is a winner. But that's not helpful because it also leaves me in the red again because my risk reward is not positive. It's kind of a negative risk reward. I risk a little bit more than I get for the reward. And so, yeah, I think either tomorrow I'm just going to take it easy, maybe just skip the day of trading, kind of clear my mind, and maybe come back on Friday. But I'm going to get into the trades right now. Pre-market moves up, sells off in 2 legs, reverses, so it bounces, moves a sideways consolidation, and almost looks like a spike in a channel. This spike is created by the unemployment change numbers, which kind of came out roughly about here. I thought it might have been moving up this yellow up channel, but I don't really like it all that much. Moves all the way, makes a high of day, creates a, well, let me go ahead and zoom in. Actually creates a first entry long here, makes a second entry long, but I thought this was an almost trade because it's second entry long failure. So it's the first time it breaks through the EMA, closes the low. By the time this thing closes, it's too risky to take a trade because I'm kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know that there's some kind of resistance here, or maybe there's nothing here at all. So it just kind of feels like a little bit premature to try to take a trade. Moves down. Initially, it did have the trading channel right here, so it's a failed breakout. Pushes up, and this is what I was initially looking at. I thought this was a multiple confirmations of this down channel confirms the failed second entry long. Technically, it's kind of like a lower high, so I thought there was a possible trade. It did have a failed breakout here, but I also thought at a separate single trend line drawn here, thinking maybe this for sure is the top of the channel, and the bottom of the channel at the time could actually have been here or here. And I wasn't too sure, but I thought this was a possible trade with the EMA rejection, good signal bar. Pushes down, so as it starts moving sideways, as it broke the second time, that's when I abandoned the idea of this Titan channel and expanded it, widened the channel to about roughly here, so it was no overshoot. It starts moving sideways, and it does the sideways breakout, sets up another possible trade here. It creates what it looks like it's a range bound. So it creates a triple test, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. Also creates a second entry short from the low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short, decent signal bar. It is closing below the EMA, so I thought it's a possible trade here. Moves to the bottom, finds support. Now the support was actually maybe here, but I actually kept it higher because it had more candle touches. But in any case, it is multiple tests here. It's like 1 touch, 2 touch, 3, 4, and then it is creating a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. So it's like 2 legs, second entry long with a multiple test with a good signal bar. Not super concerned about the EMA because you do have enough room to scalp out. But I thought it's a possible trade here. Pushes up, creates a failed breakout, then moves back into range. So when I see this failed breakout in real time, I'm thinking it's going to create another failed breakout here because my overall conceptual idea of what's going on is going to make one big leg. Looks like hard to see. One big leg, looks like it's 2 attempts, and then it might create a second leg down, about the same size as this guy. So if at least, I think it's going to cause a failed breakout here. If it has a failed breakout and pulls back into range, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm expecting at least a corresponding failed breakout on the low side of this range. This localized high, first entry long. You have a technical second entry long here, but it looks like a visual first entry, second entry. This is a bad signal bar. At the time, I was thinking it might move back into range, but this isn't a good enough signal bar. Moves back, and then it kind of falls through. So as it's falling through, my channel was actually tighter initially. I had something like this, and I was playing this, and I thought, okay, there's a fail breakout here. Might create a corresponding fail breakout here, 2 legs up, and then a continuation down on this channel. But I also had, I've since deleted it just to keep things clean, a measure move check here, but it already violated it. So I'm thinking, I'm not so sure that it's going to just reverse because it made this measure move now. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Creates a localized low, creates a first entry short, pullback. Technically you have a second entry short, but it looks like it's a first entry, maybe a second entry here. Or if you did this as a double count bottom, it'd be a first entry, second entry. But I didn't really have to worry about all that because it wasn't super clear to me because the signal bar wasn't good. So I just said it's a possible second entry. I'm not sure what I'm looking at, but it's something I was thinking in real time, trying to decipher what this was, but not good enough for a trade. The prices moved down. I'm still playing this orange down channel because I think there's just a fail breakout here, but it failed to make a corresponding breakout on this side. So it creates a localized high. First entry long pullback, second entry long, also a new low. First entry short pullback, second entry short. In other instances, I think this is a decent setup, except this is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I wanted this candle at least to come up, touch the EMA, and then come back down because there's not that much room to the low. And despite the fact that it is probably 2 key entry points, like a failed second entry long and a second entry short, it just felt, just wanted like a lower high confirmation to feel extra sure. You kind of get a lower high here, but it's very tight because it looks like, at least in my eyes at the time, it looks like there's some kind of support here because this candle here is actually 1 tick above this guy. But it did move up, flush down. It's a 13 tick candle. It's a little bit large for this kind of risk that I wanted to take, so left it alone. Starts moving down. Looks like it's moving down the secondary red down channel. And as it was going, I was thinking, go ahead and normalize this. This orange down channel, it looked like it was only valid up here, or if I extended it down to here, I still have an overshoot here. So I moved it all the way down to here, and it looks like it might be this larger orange down channel. It's this touch confirmation here, but there's no setups that occurred. It's a localized low, makes a first entry short, and that's all you get. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but this blue down channel doesn't exist yet. It's too early to establish this blue down channel, so I'm just kind of sitting in the middle of nowhere looking for EMA touch rejection, but I don't get it. But it keeps moving down. As it moves down, I thought, okay, well, I think there's this red down channel, but I also think there's a secondary blue down channel, which fits pretty nicely. It creates a second entry short here, but it's an almost trade because it's new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short. Again, it's far from the EMA. Again, it's really close to this low of day support area. So I'm just reluctant to try to sell into the low. Granted, prices could continue moving down, but I just need a little bit more firm, more uh, pieces of more key entry points to trust the setup. And just based off of one, which is first entry short, second entry short here, well, you don't know it's going to be a second entry short, then you finally get this confirmed. It feels too late, and the signal bar just wasn't good enough. Too much support potential here. Starts pushing down, moves along this green down channel, blue down channel, bounces. First entry short pullback, second entry short bad signal bar. You kind of don't really get a lower high here, get a kind of double top, so nothing setting up here. It was kind of ranging. It starts moving back up. It looks like it's moving up this gray up channel now, and it's just kind of noisy. You don't really get very many clean second entries. You do have a new low here. I did see this as a new low. First entry short, actually right here. Second entry short, I only marked it as an almost trade because it's very tight. The break of this orange up channel, you could argue is testing the high, but the follow through candle isn't very convincing. And since I did have this gray up channel drawn, I had it established the high side. So you could argue there's another key entry point, but what's stopping me is this not very appealing signal bar. If it closed red and at the low, then maybe there's a trade. But now I'm looking for a lower high. You technically get a lower high here, but if flushed through too quickly, to try to get in onto this trade. Plus, waiting for the break of this, you'd be selling right into a potential EMA support. Then you do have a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I actually thought this was a possible trade. In real time, I was thinking, but I hesitated and I just really wasn't confident in my read. But it's bouncing off the confirmed low of this great up channel. The high of this great up channel is pretty well confirmed too. There's a small little excursion break of it, but you could say it's pretty much respecting the resistance side. So it's like first entry long pullback, second entry long, decent 2 legs down. So it's a possible trade here. I'm looking and hoping for a higher low where this candle would have been, like comes down, touches this, closes at the high with a nice signal bar. Fortunately, I don't get that. You might have a higher low here, but it never breaks above this guy. So it starts breaking down. So it's breaking through this great up channel. So I'm just sitting in here, watching and waiting again. Moves up this orange up channel, break, test the high. It just kind of starts moving sideways. There is a second entry long here potential, but it's a bad signal bar. So clearly it's just ranging now. Breaks through, breaks below the EMA. You do have a multiple test here, and I did think there was a new low, potential first entry short, potential second entry short. Second entry short, at the time I was looking at it, and I didn't really take any action because it is multiple tests here. You could argue the break of this orange has tested the high. Maybe it's coming back down, but it looks like it's in a pretty strict range, and there's just barely enough room to scalp out. And I just didn't feel confident because this could act as a really strong support. Those pushes through, you just get dojis, not kind of staying away from that. Hits this support area, starts reversing back up. Keep in mind, this red up channel doesn't exist yet, so I can't use anything that touches here as a key entry point just yet because it doesn't exist yet. It shows up later. Pushes up. So this the first idea that there might be some kind of channel here when I see this come back. So I did have, now this is the time when I established the red up channel, 1 touch, 2 touch, and then I try to make this fit as best I could without an overshoot. But it only really has 2 confirmations on each side. It is very wide and shallow, so I'm just kind of leaving it alone. Don't really trust it just yet, but it acts as a guideline of knowing that, well, prices are moving bullish, but you really don't need this transparent red up channel to tell you that. You could pretty much tell just by looking at it. So as it moves down, I see it bounces here. So I said, okay, this is pretty good. Say first entry long, technically a first entry long here by technical count, but it's a visual first entry. You have a second entry here, but it's a bad signal bar. It just gets noisy. And this is actually where I take my first trade. So in my mind right now, we're moving up this transparent channel. I'll go ahead and color it in for now. Just say it's purple or red. It touches the high side, and now it's coming back down, touches the low side. It made 2 attempts up. I'm thinking it could create another leg down. Although this is potentially a channel that had already had 3 touch confirmations, I didn't really trust enough. That's not as transparent. So I was thinking push down, test of the orange low wants to happen, and made 2 attempts up. Now it looks like it's coming back down. It gives you, or at the time I thought was a lower high. I entered on the engulfing. It picks me up, and then it pushes back up and closes right here. Then it gives you an inside bar. So at this time, I'm thinking, am I in trouble? EMA is still acting as resistance, but I didn't like the EMA was flatlining, but my expectation is still going to move back down. Then it actually flushes up and stops me out 1 tick above here. I was debating on keeping my stop up here. If that were the case, I'd still be alive after this candle, but it would also increase my risk to the reward I was going for. Plus, based off of this, there's a chance that it could be moving back up to the high side. So I was basing the strength of the trade off of the belief that the orange down channel is going to test the low because it made 2 attempts up. But it was a bad signal bar, so I wasn't confident enough to keep the. I wasn't confident enough to think I'm right. Keep the stop up here, and if I did, this candle likely would have stopped me out, which would have meant a couple more points of loss. So I'm okay taking the loss when it was right up here. So it moves up, and just like the last 2 days, my first trade has been a loss, and that's kind of a bummer. It's kind of like I'm seeing a pattern. Either I'm too eager on my first trade and not waiting for a proper, more clean setup, or it's just coincidence. I mean, it could be a combination of both. For sure, though, I'm just kind of like it jostled me because I don't like taking who likes taking a loss, but I took a loss and it just showing the pattern. My first trade was a loss, so I was just buckling down now, watching pretty carefully. It starts moving sideways. Localized high, you have a first entry. Technically, you have a first entry, second entry. Count can reset, but I also saw as localized high. First entry, pull back. You technically have a second entry way down here, but it feels so far from the setup that I'm not the biggest fan. It's below the EMA. It's broken outside this up channel. I'm not really sure what's going on. I do have this drawn as a potential support area, but I didn't turn it into a range just yet. Starts bouncing. You could argue there's a higher low, but it's not really a clean higher. I mean, it is a higher low, but it doesn't really show anything right now. Pushes up, and then it does give you a higher low here, which I thought was a possible trade because it's a new low. First entry short pullback, second entry short. Second entry short technically hasn't failed yet, but it looks like it's on its way to failing. It gives you a higher low right there. And as a break of this orange up channel, it needs to test the high. Decent signal bar. I thought there was a possible trade here. A little aggressive though. And after taking this loss, I wasn't really in the mood of taking a super aggressive trade. Pushes up, new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Unfortunately, it's the wrong colored signal bar. Pushes up, and then pushes to this high side. I was thinking, okay, there might be some kind of resistance here, and it created breakout here. Keep in mind, I was hunting for a trading range because I thought the low was here. At the time, I thought maybe the high was here, potentially. Coming from a failed breakout, first entry long pullback, second entry long, pushes down. Actually, I'd take a second trade right here. So this could be in a trading range. Overall, prices looks like it spiked up, pushes down. It's moving up the shallow up channel, and it looks like it's also range bound. So it's just, for the most part, very choppy. It's pushing up. EMA is starting to curl up. I drew this, as you see it, this yellow down channel. I saw this as a break and tested the low. I also saw first entry pullback, second entry. Technically, this isn't a higher low because it actually broke below. But what I liked about it was it broke below by one tick, engulfed the two previous bars. And when it engulfed, at the time I thought it was going to close with a very bullish close at the high. So I actually enter before this bar finished, comes down, picks me up, and closes down here. So it's more neutral than I thought. And that actually made me wonder, did I just, make a poor decision again? So I was basing it off the strength of this gray, well, now gray channel, but gray trend line support, because that's the first key entry point. It's holding on the EMA second key entry point. I like that it's engulfing, confirming the second entry long. Technically, it's first entry, second entry. It's a higher lows right here, but it broke below and it engulfed it because it never broke below on this one. But I thought, okay, that might be another key entry point, enough to push it up for a quick scalp. Now, again, at the time, I thought this could be the top of the range. So it's a failed breakout here, but I was thinking it might be a breakout pullback, which, isn't super duper clean right now. But so I thought at the time I was able to get 6 ticks, and then prices kept moving up. As it hit this high, that's when I extended the range from where this blue line used to be. Left it here as a phantom line just for my own notes, so I know why this line existed. Then it dragged it up to here because it has two confirmations now. So I think the total range might be this big gray one, which kind of reduces the fail breakouts. Pushes down, break, first entry long pullback, second entry long inside bar. Not a big fan of that. Pushes down to the low side, bounces off the low side range support, which is pretty nice. There's no setup. It's a first entry short pullback. You technically have a second entry short here, but this signal bar is inside to this guy, so I'm just extra cautious. Looking for a lower high. You get a lower high here, but it feels like prices are just moving sideways now. You have just pretty much candles side by side, which is almost creating just really tight congestion. So this second entry short confirmation of lower high, I don't really trust just yet. I'm just waiting for things to clean up. You can also say it's the new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, but again, This is your signal bar. This is the follow through. It had to pull back again, so that makes me extra cautious. Starts moving sideways. I thought we were in a range, so new low. First entry short, pull back. Second entry short. The second entry short says almost trade because one, this candle is 24 ticks, which is huge. It's great that it's engulfing this guy, but it also engulfed this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. So it engulfed 6 previous candles. It looks like it's wedging out, but each time it did a flush down, there was a follow through green candle that shows up shortly after. That's kind of like equal in size. So this big move down is just whipsaw. I was cautious, thinking there could be equally big green candle moving up. If I did try to take a short here, my stop's way up here. Yes, it might not stop me out, but it could move quite a bit that I just didn't really want to ease the fate that I might get stopped out, especially considering it wasn't the cleanest setup. Prices move to the high side, break of this red, test the high, say first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but you don't get the second entry long confirmed until this candle forms. So this is your trigger bar, but it's inside, so I'm not a big fan of that. Pushes down. I think we're moving down this yellow down channel. There's a break here. Initially, I thought, okay, well, after these guys printed, this is probably just a failed breakout because extending it to here doesn't look quite right. Looks like it fits pretty well here. So I treated this as a failed breakout. Was looking for a failed breakout here, but it never shows up. Pushes to the low. There's another failed breakout here. At that point, I thought maybe this is the channel. But this is already toward the end of the day, last 30 minutes. I wasn't really going to be hunting for a second setup, excuse me, a third setup. Hits to the low, it's a first entry short pullback. You technically have a second entry short, maybe triple test, but this is really too late in the day to try to take this because it's already at last 10 minutes of the day, and that kind of just pushes into the close. So yeah, it's just kind of similar to the last, well, the 3 days of trading I've taken today. It's always the first trade I get burned. Second trade, I miraculously get a profitable trade, but it's not enough to wipe out the loss. And then only on Monday did I take a third trade, and then yesterday and today I didn't. I did take the second trade, but I didn't take a third trade, which I think in hindsight it's just better that way. I'm just off. I feel like probably my probably need to take a break, probably take tomorrow off just to reset my brain because I feel like, yeah, I'm just taking some suspects trades sometimes and I could feel it. My judgment's kind of going. So hopefully that's helpful.